The story opened with a young man on a call, questioning when he had ever said he would date the girl on the other end. Hearing his words, the girl froze in shock, the juice can in her hand slipping and falling to the floor. The scene shifted, revealing that everything began a few weeks earlier, on the day Do Sujeong attended her department's blind date. The first glimpse of her was inside a quiet bookstore, where she browsed through books. Nearby, a handsome man stood flipping through a novel. A girl approached him, asking if he was single and requesting his number. The man, Seunghyun, casually handed it over. The girl thanked him with a bright smile. Watching from a short distance, Sujeong noted how handsome he looked. She did not yet know his name, nor that he was the same man from the opening scene. Another girl soon approached him, also asking for his number. Sujeong observed this silently, surprised that yet another girl had approached. That second girl then approached Sujeong herself, asking for her number before walking away happily with her friends. Sujeong, unimpressed, thought to herself that he must give his number to anyone who asks. Her phone rang, and Hyeori's voice burst through the receiver, reminding her about the blind date she was covering that day. Meanwhile, the girl who had gotten Seunghyun's number earlier tried calling him, only to find the number didn't exist. Sujeong answered Hyeori's call, confirming she would attend as promised. Laughing, Hyeori teased that she should use this chance to date someone she liked. Sujeong brushed it off, saying she would rather be rich and jobless, traveling the world on a private cruise, than deal with such things. She found blind dates uncomfortable, filled with the same predictable flirting tricks. Hyeori laughed again, pointing out that everyone went despite knowing that. She reminded Sujeong that dating, and even love, often began when people pretended not to notice each other. The narration revealed more about Sujeong as she studied at Yonsei University, a prestigious school near the sea. She was a voluntary outsider, someone uninterested in others, often compared to an introverted cat choosing solitude. Though she felt awkward when meeting new people, it wasn't discomfort with company, but rather her guarded, solitary nature. Her only close friend, Hyeori, sometimes wondered who would ever fall for a lone wolf like her. To Sujeong, love and bonding with strangers meant little. She only wanted peace, like oil easing stiff joints. Still, despite her reluctance, she agreed to take Hyeori's place at the blind date. At the dating venue, several men began asking about her hobbies. She explained that she enjoyed writing, watching movies, catching up on housework, walking, and visiting libraries. Though not skilled at social interactions, she tried her best. Internally, she only wished someone would send her home. One of the men praised her, noting it was expected of someone from the creative writing department. He commented on her independent habits, teasingly calling her good at being alone. Feeling awkward, Sujeong wondered if she had sounded too stiff, and quickly added that she also liked spending time with others. She thought her recovery sounded casual enough. Another girl accused her of lying, pointing out that one more person had yet to arrive. A boy confirmed that the last guest had said he was nearby. That final arrival turned out to be Seunghyun. Sujeong immediately recognized him from the bookstore. His friends teased him for arriving late, noting how long they had waited. Confirming that everyone was the same age, he suggested they all speak casually. Sujeong noticed how naturally he interacted with the opposite sex. The group laughed and teased each other, sharing stories about Sujeong's solitary habits and her awkward attempt to explain herself. Seunghyun chuckled softly. Sujeong, feeling uneasy, thought about how she was not immune to compliments like that. She realized that blind dates were always filled with cheesy remarks and overt gestures, a dynamic she still could not get used to. One of the men suggested an adult drinking game, while another tried hard to charm a girl by asking about her shampoo, claiming it smelled good. Sujeong thought both approaches felt forced. She glanced at Seunghyun and thought it would be better if they all acted naturally, just as he did. Soon, a man with glasses excitedly announced a drinking game in 10 minutes, making Sujeong inwardly groan and wish for home. Another man approached her, offering ice cream and inviting her along. Just as she prepared to go, Seunghyun stopped her, offering the ice cream he had received earlier as a freebie from the restaurant, though it had melted slightly. Grateful to escape the other man, she thought to herself that Seunghyun wasn't her type either, but at least he saved her. Others muttered enviously, remarking on how effortlessly attractive men operated. Sujeong, unimpressed, recognized the tactic as an old trick. As the games continued, she kept losing, each round ending with her taking more drinks. Friends commented that they had never seen anyone lose so much in a row. They offered to take her for ice cream to clear her head, while some of the guys went outside to smoke. Sujeong declined, saying she would stay. Her friends warned her not to bail before heading out. Alone, she debated sneaking home, thinking the timing was perfect since everyone was gone. But Seunghyun appeared yet again, right as she planned to leave. She sighed at the poor timing. She asked if he smoked, and he shook his head, explaining that he hated cigarettes for their taste and health risks. Though she hadn't asked for his opinion, she noted how smoothly he spoke. He noticed her tipsiness, teasing her about being more relaxed now compared to her stiff demeanor earlier. She realized she was even initiating conversation and speaking with a slight nasal tone, which he joked about, promising to tease her later. She protested, saying he barely knew her, but he corrected her, stating that he actually did. He had memorized her name, Do Sujeong, even assuming she wouldn't bother to remember his. She asked what he meant by that, and he clarified that they were simply very different types. Their differences felt obvious. He explained that he enjoyed surfing and all water sports, jokingly comparing himself to a seal. She admitted she wasn't active or sporty, seeing little point in pursuing a connection. Still, he encouraged her to keep talking, suggesting they might find something in common. She eventually admitted that she liked cute things, showing him her dog, Cha Seunghyun, a 3-year-old she described as adorable. He agreed, but before the conversation could continue, she quickly excused herself, claiming she needed the restroom. Seunghyun followed, worried she might stumble from drinking. She was startled to find that the restroom was outside, realizing he had caught her attempt to sneak away. As others noticed her absence, wondering if she had left again without a word, Seunghyun found her hiding and offered to keep her escape a secret. She agreed. Inwardly, Sujeong noted that she expected him to smell like alcohol and perfume, but instead caught the faint scent of shampoo. She realized that from the very beginning, she had been doomed. From the start, the mistake had been hers because of Sujeong. Finally, Seunghyun asked for her Instagram account, marking the first personal connection between them. Sujeong told Seunghyun that she did not use social media. He seemed surprised, asking if she truly had no accounts at all. She confirmed she did not. He hummed thoughtfully and asked for her phone number instead. She questioned why, and he explained that he was only curious, though she did not have to give it. She wondered if exchanging numbers was normal for blind dates like this. He admitted he wanted to ask for something else, but decided against it, suggesting she leave before the others started suspecting anything. The girls nearby whispered, noting that he still hadn't returned. Sujeong hesitated, explaining that she had been planning to leave, but the timing felt off. Seunghyun acknowledged her struggle and offered to help. She doubted he would know the right timing, but he assured her she could simply follow his lead. Counting down, he told her to run on 3. She was startled by how suddenly he began, but followed as he instructed her not to look at him and to focus ahead. As they ran, she questioned why he was leaving with her. He replied that he was heading home too. She worried the others might misunderstand, but he dismissed her concerns, saying misunderstandings were part of what blind dates were for. He asked if running felt good. She admitted it didn't, exhausted by the effort, her lack of stamina showing clearly as the trait of a homebody. At the crossroads, Seunghyun said he would head in another direction, promising to put in a good word for her in the group chat. She thanked him and promised to repay the favor someday. He laughed, asking how she planned to do that without even knowing his number. She handed him her phone and told him to type it in. Later, her friend asked how the blind date had gone and whether someone had confessed an interest. Sujeong admitted that someone had asked for her number. Her friend grew excited, eager to hear the love story of her seemingly emotionless friend, calling her a tin man. Sujeong thought back on it, wondering aloud if it truly meant anything. She admitted that they had exchanged numbers simply out of courtesy, nothing more. Her friend asked what kind of man he was. Sujeong explained that he seemed to enjoy being around women, giving his number whenever they asked. Her friend corrected her, clarifying that he had not given out his number. She asked if Sujeong had a photo and recognized his name, mentioning she had often seen it on EPTA. Curious, Sujeong asked if he was famous. Her friend explained that his family owned a shipbuilding company and earned massive wealth. She noted he had many rumors surrounding him, warning Sujeong to be cautious since he might be a womanizer, though it was not confirmed. Sujeong quietly noted that her friend had likely argued with her boyfriend again. Her friend insisted she only wanted to protect her innocent friend. Sujeong thought to herself that there was no need for concern. Sujeong had told her he rarely used Kakao Talk, though he did not seem like the type. She remembered his message, saying he did not check the app in the evenings, and thought a 2 to 3 hour delay in replies was reasonable. Meanwhile, Seunghyun noticed there had been no contact from her since that day. His friend asked where he was going, and he replied that he was heading to do something fun. His friend pointed out he was wearing the same thing again, assuming he liked it, and asked if he was going to sit down. Sujeong's thoughts revealed her discomfort. Sitting next to someone she was not close to felt wearisome. Seunghyun teased her for suddenly acting distant. She explained that she was simply tired, having had classes for her major earlier. He confirmed her major in writing and asked what she wrote. She hesitated, claiming she wrote thrillers, and decided to make something up to seem confident. Seunghyun expressed surprise and interest, saying he wanted to read her work. She quickly refused, and he promised not to press further. A group of girls passed by, greeting Seunghyun cheerfully and asking where he was going. Sujeong observed quietly, thinking back to the rumors she had heard. She noted how many female friends he seemed to have, and wondered if he had always been so naturally friendly and smiling. Thinking about it, she could understand why he had acted the way he did during their first encounter. She reasoned that it was not just her he treated this way. As the bus rattled, Sujeong reflected that she must have dreamed about him simply because she had dozed off while they were talking. Yet now, she noticed his subtle effort to avoid touching her, which made her overthink the situation. She felt awkward about it, hesitating to let her leg brush against his, even by accident. She told herself it was just a leg and should not matter if it touched by mistake. At that moment, the traffic light outside turned red, almost as if foreshadowing what was to come. Seunghyun's voice broke the quiet, calling Sugyun's name. Kunji greeted Seunghyun, recalling his name, and he acknowledged her with a light remark before she left. Sujeong observed this exchange, realizing that since he asked about names so often, his words from before might not have carried much meaning. A beep from her phone signaled a new message on Kakao Talk. It was Cha Seunghyun, asking when she planned to repay the favor she had promised him. She remembered her own words, where she had thanked him and assured him she would repay him someday. When she asked what he wanted, he simply requested coffee. She suggested sending an e-gift card, but he clarified that he preferred meeting in person. Sujeong noted his quick wit, but found him selective. Realizing he avoided franchises, she thought about how someone so aware of his charm could naturally draw people in without effort. His friends teased him, remarking on his wealth and looks, asking if he knew how well off he was. He laughed, admitting they had caught on. They pressed further, assuming he was texting a girl, which he quickly denied. Sujeong reflected that Seunghyun was unlike anyone she had met before, leaving her unsure how to act around him. Her friend noticed her distracted expression and asked if she was messaging him. She admitted she was, unsure herself why she was casually sending Kakao Talk messages to him. Soon he told her to enjoy the festival, and ended the conversation abruptly. She quietly called him a ghost-like person for ending the chat at the same moment she had been about to. Her friend noticed her reaction and asked what was wrong. Sujeong explained her surprise at his timing. Her friend found it impressive, assuming he must have dated many girls to be so perceptive, and encouraged her to greet him if they crossed paths at the festival. She asked if he even knew Sujeong was there, noting that many from his department were out picking up girls in their uniforms. Sujeong said they were not close, and her friend quickly changed the subject, suggesting they visit a booth offering tarot readings. At the booth, the fortune teller asked if it had not been long since Sujeong's friend had broken up with someone, or if recent memories of the person had started to bother her again. She also asked if they had fought recently. Sujeong silently wondered how she had avoided being dragged into the reading so far, while her friend confirmed that they were indeed taking a break after a fight. The fortune teller assured her that a reconciliation opportunity would soon present itself. Her friend grew excited and urged Sujeong to have her fortune read as well. The reader studied Sujeong carefully, saying that she appeared cautious and might take time to open up, but once she did, she would give everything to the person she cared about. Sujeong internally dismissed it, thinking she would need to experience it herself to know. She reflected once more on how foreign love and emotional bonds felt to her, likening herself to a machine needing only oil for its joints. She humored the reading with a polite response. Her friend warned her to always be careful about people, declaring how accurate the fortune teller was. Sujeong asked if she truly believed it, and her friend admitted that while she simply wanted to, it felt convincing. Suddenly, her friend's phone buzzed with a message from her boyfriend, asking to meet as he was nearby. Sujeong immediately told her to go, assuring her she was fine, and reminding her not to waste the opportunity. Grateful, her friend thanked her profusely, promising to buy her a meal the next day. As her friend left, Sujeong wondered why she seemed so happy, while her friend worried internally about the sudden timing of the message. Sujeong reflected on how, as someone more comfortable being alone, she could never understand why people laughed and cried over something like love. Over just one message or one piece of news, over a fleeting moment that might be meaningless in time, they shifted between joy and sorrow. She concluded that if love was as brief as falling cherry blossoms, perhaps it was better not to begin it at all. Yet she acknowledged that it was thanks to such people that she could make a living. Soon a voice called her name. A man approached, recognizing her from the department blind date. She greeted him politely, internally struggling to remember his name. He reminded her that she had sat closest to him that day and suggested they spend time together since they had both come alone. She explained that she already had company, but he persisted, assuring her he would not make her uncomfortable and proposing they at least share a meal. Feeling even more burdened, she reiterated that she had company and was planning to contact them. Her phone vibrated with a message from Seunghyun, asking what she was doing and laughing. Seunghyun questioned if he was truly not some ghost watching her from afar. He asked about her friend, and she grew uneasy, wondering if he was nearby. The man beside her noticed her distracted expression, asking what was wrong. Seunghyun sent another message, laughing again. again, clarifying that he was not near her, but at a store diagonally across the street. Sujeong felt more unsettled as she recalled her friend mentioning that men from his department often wore uniforms to pick up girls, while he was dressed casually. He teased her, saying she seemed to be having fun. The other man tried to convince her to stay, saying it would be a shame to part after meeting again. Annoyed, she told Seunghyun to stop laughing. He asked if she needed his help. She hesitated, questioning why he would help, but he dismissed it, saying never mind. She clarified that was not what she meant, and he smirked, asking if she was wondering why he kept helping her. She admitted she was. The man beside her pressed again, suggesting they spent more time together until her company arrived. Frustrated, she questioned internally why he kept following her. Seunghyun's response was simple, saying it was just because he wanted to. When their eyes met, he smiled. He called her over, telling her to say her company had arrived. The persistent man questioned if she really had company. Sujeong silently called him ridiculous, not understanding her own impulse to go along with Seunghyun's lead. She thought back to his earlier words about acting without a reason, realizing he often did things simply because he wanted to. She pointed to Seunghyun, telling the man her company was there. She reflected that Seunghyun was simply less uncomfortable to be around than the other man, though she refused to say he was comfortable company. Seunghyun noted the crowd around them and remarked that she should have taken his hand. He then asked if she wanted to spend time with him now. Seunghyun had already paid for the drinks, leaving Sujeong surprised. She called after him, questioning why he lied about having plans with her. He explained that he simply had a feeling something might happen, and had intended to buy coffee if he met someone. Sujeong could not understand how he managed to be so effortlessly charming without even trying. It had been the same when they first met, when he struck up a conversation and offered help without her asking. Even today, he had stepped in again. She remembered hearing warnings to be cautious of people who acted overly friendly upon first meeting, and the thought lingered. She asked him outright if he was part of a cult. He reacted with surprise before laughing, assuring her he was not. She grew more confused, wondering why he continued to be so nice to her. He found her amusing, calling her by name with a laugh. Sujeong reflected that he had no real reason to help her or ask for her number, and she realized she knew almost nothing about him. She decided to ask what he did. He responded playfully, saying that if they were going to discuss such things, she should stay a little longer and not leave. Her thoughts wandered as she recalled what she knew about him. This was Cha Seunghyun, famously known as the handsome student of the Nautical Sciences department. He was rarely without plans, and had even been the student council president for 3 consecutive years during high school. The more they talked, the clearer it became that he was entirely different from her, making his closeness feel even stranger. He wondered aloud why he had not known about her before. She told him plainly that it was natural he had not noticed her, as she always went home as soon as classes ended and never stayed on campus like he did. He teased her, remarking that she was not easy. A street singer's voice floated through the air, singing about the world warming and becoming unbearable. Sujeong questioned why someone like him would even be interested in her. He brushed it off, saying he could be interested. She wondered silently why he would feel that way. The singer continued, singing about falling in love like a story from a novel. She noticed Seunghyun's gaze lingering on her. He explained that because she hid so much about herself, his curiosity only grew. They had talked plenty about him, and now it was her turn to share. She was caught off guard. He teased her further, saying she was known as a master of romance, famous for winning every romance novel contest she entered. Shocked, she demanded to know how he found out. He admitted he had asked the girls at the department blind date but claimed he did not know the details. She thought to herself that he was lying. Accusing him directly, she asked if he had read her work. He confessed to seeing only the beginning, up to a kiss scene where the male lead pushed the female lead against a wall. Her mind raced, wondering if he had mentioned this only to embarrass her from the start, as though he had done a background check on her. She shouted for him to stop talking, feeling deeply embarrassed. He asked why she was so flustered over something she should feel proud of, laughing as he did. She told him firmly that it was none of his business and demanded he stop laughing. He agreed, promising to stop if she explained why she was embarrassed. She hesitated but agreed, asking if he would truly stop. He assured her he would. She explained that it was obvious she lacked experience, which made it embarrassing to write such romantic scenes. That was the reason for her discomfort, so he should stop laughing now. He seemed to understand, letting out a soft acknowledgement as he shifted and complained that his legs hurt. With a laugh, he suggested they find a seat and have something to drink. Seunghyun felt her embarrassment swell further, wondering why he insisted on making her feel this way. Seunghyun's tone shifted as he addressed her directly, asking if she disliked the very romance she wrote about. He suggested that to write better, she should gain real experience and even try living through such moments herself, insisting he was not saying it just for effect. Seunghyun felt overwhelmed, as though her mind malfunctioned from the unexpected comment. She reminded herself to remain calm, her only defense as someone who struggled to express emotions. She composed herself and replied that she sometimes thought that way. She then remarked on the performance they had seen earlier, saying that if she had been there with a lover, she might have leaned her head on his shoulder while listening to it. She immediately wondered what was wrong with her for saying that, telling herself not to let it get to her. She reassured herself that no one could tell how flustered she truly felt. Seunghyun replied casually, saying she should have leaned on him, as he would have pretended not to notice. She reacted with shock, questioning inwardly if this was flirting, and whether she needed to know how to respond. In her mind, she imagined herself as a machine, now facing a crisis. Compared to her own experience, Seunghyun's level seemed far higher, making it feel like an enemy she could not defeat. She asked why he would pretend not to notice. He replied that it was simply because he wanted to, using the same reasoning he often did. She noted silently that he was saying, "just because," once more. He suddenly told her not to look to the side. When she asked why, he explained that there were people kissing on the stairs nearby. Her surprise was immediate, but he added another detail, saying they were both wearing school uniforms. She questioned if he had seen it correctly. He assured her he had, describing how their lips were still locked and how they had not let go of each other. She thought about how comments like his made others seem superficial, realizing he knew exactly where the line was, and nudged her just enough to provoke a reaction. Yet, since he never fully crossed into her personal space, she could not call him out, and despite herself, she felt unsettled. He asked if he had been too provocative. She admitted silently that he made people feel strange. He clarified that the couple were not high school students, but had rented uniforms from a nearby booth, as many people did for dates at amusement parks. He asked if she liked things like that. She replied that uniform dates were not her style, finding them childish. He questioned her response with a curious tone, while Sujeong reflected inwardly. She considered that people often had a sixth sense about others, a feeling of safety or danger. To her, Sujeong felt like an unknown world she could not read, leaning closer to being dangerous. He told her that it would probably feel different if they tried such a date together. He wondered aloud if she was curious to see how different it could feel with him, and asked if she was not curious at all. She realized she was, against her better judgment. She asked what he would do if she admitted she was curious. Seunghyun asked Sujeong if she wanted to go to an amusement park with him. Her mind froze, realizing that was not what she meant by suggesting they go together. She had only been curious about what it would be like to visit an amusement park with him, not to actually make plans. She panicked inwardly, questioning what difference it could possibly make to go with him. Her thoughts scrambled as she tried to clarify, realizing she had worded it poorly and made it sound like she wanted to spend time with him. Seunghyun responded with mock disappointment, saying he had thought she genuinely wanted to hang out with him and had gotten his hopes up for nothing. She thought about how he continued to say strange things, even in moments like this. Determined to turn the tables, she threw his own teasing back at him, pointing out that he seemed to be the one wanting to spend time with her alone, repeatedly asking such questions. She reassured herself that her reply sounded natural and braced herself for his typical response. She warned herself not to let him get away with saying "just because" again. He smirked faintly and told her to take a guess, calling her the writer and daring her to figure it out. He added that if she could not manage that, she should simply stay quiet. Sujeong felt increasingly frustrated, growing displeased at his constant presence near her space. Inwardly, she warned him not to cross her line. He casually assured her he had not crossed it yet. Confiding in her only close friend, Yu Hyeri, was not an option, as she hated the burdened expression Haye always gave her. Aside from Haye, she had no other friends, though she realized she had one more companion, an artificial one. She turned to ChatGPT, a digital confidant she could speak to efficiently, without the weight of trivial emotions. She admitted to the AI that someone had leverage over her and asked for advice. She confessed that she wrote romance novels, something she had wanted to keep private due to the embarrassment, but Seunghyun had found out on his own and now used it to tease her. ChatGPT assured her that such situations could be upsetting and reminded her that others' reactions did not define her worth or the value of her work. The AI prompted her to think about whether his knowledge and teasing came with ill intentions. She recalled that he had suggested she should try experiencing romance for herself instead of just writing about it, and she questioned why he would ask that. ChatGPT reasoned that perhaps, after seeing her work, he thought real experience might help her writing, or that it was light conversation meant to get a reaction. It could simply be playful interest. She considered these possibilities, frustrated that her reactions seemed to entertain him. The AI clarified that some people express interest in unconventional ways, but if his behavior felt disrespectful to her personal space, she should reconsider any connection. Sujeong took the advice to heart and decided she needed to distance herself. She planned to settle her debt to him so he would have no reason to contact her again, remembering how he had beaten her to paying for drinks at the festival. She felt certain this would allow them to drift apart naturally. She texted him, offering to buy him coffee and asking if he was free the next day. Elsewhere, Seunghyun laughed with a girl, claiming he had seen something funny and offering to show her. The following following day, he messaged Sujeong, telling her he would be waiting in front of the stairs on the first floor. She spotted him immediately upon arrival and reminded herself that this was the day she would start keeping her distance. Reflecting on it, she acknowledged they had never been that close to begin with. As they walked, he asked if she had been heading to the campus cafe, noting how little seating it usually had. She found him picky and wondered why the seating even mattered. He explained that he simply wanted to sit facing her while they had coffee together, calling her author Nim as he handed her something to hold because it kept falling from his pocket. She realized he was once again using something he had written to make pocket money, and she thought bitterly about his notoriety. He downplayed his fame, saying he was not as well known as she imagined. She questioned him, asking if someone else had written the content she had found, only to realize he had somehow discovered the site where her work appeared. She was stunned that he had managed to find out. She reminded herself that if his actions continued to make her uncomfortable, calmly telling him she disliked how he treated her might solve the problem. She confronted him, asking why he kept trying to cross the line. He deflected, asking if she could simply let him cross it. When she pushed back, pointing out that it required adult verification, he insisted he was not trying to tease her, though she reminded him of his earlier promise not to. He suddenly realized he had gone too far. She demanded he not look at her phone and grew flustered, while he apologized sincerely. He admitted his joke had crossed the line and said her reaction had just been too cute to resist, promising not to do it again. Sujeong silently regretted ever getting involved with Cha Seunghyun. Yet, as she met his smiling eyes, she found herself unable to voice her frustration. She thought to herself that she should have spoken up sooner, but told him firmly not to talk like that anymore. She reminded him that she was not the type to get close through casual words, the way he did, and that his face-to-face coffee request felt empty. However, she acknowledged that one part of his words had been true, the part about him being interested. Seogyun prompted Sujeong to guess what it was, but all she could sense was a malfunction. Confused, Sujeong questioned the meaning behind it, realizing she had never heard anything like that before, and had no idea how to react. Seogyun casually admitted not knowing either, leaving Sujeong puzzled as he asked where she was going. The cafe was nearby, and the orders were backed up, requiring a 10-minute wait. The lingering question remained about what was still broken, but the conversation ended abruptly with an awkward laugh, leaving nothing clarified. As they moved along, Seogyun asked what Sujeong usually did when she went out. She admitted she rarely went out at all. Despite that, she always showed up when her friends called, because one of them was a close friend. Passing through the moment, the topic shifted when Seogyun asked about a boyfriend. Sujeong reminded herself she didn't go out and disliked crowded places, silently wondering why he always steered conversations this way. Seogyun noted that it must be the crowd issue, acknowledging that it would make things difficult. He then asked if it felt easier when it was just the two of them, moments before the shopkeeper announced their Americanos were ready. Seogyun remarked that his debt was settled and left quickly, bidding farewell with a laugh, while Sujeong muttered that she hoped not to see him again. Despite her composed exterior, Sujeong's life had changed drastically when her father's business collapsed in an instant. She reassured her father that it was fine, insisting that living in a smaller house didn't bother her. She refused any allowance, declaring herself an adult who could handle life independently, even if it meant struggling. She told herself repeatedly that using her talents was a good thing. She wrote provocative stories, scraped together contest winnings, and lived out her youth alone. Even as peers like Yu Hai-ri noted she skipped social gatherings and earned a reputation as a shut-in, she convinced herself she was fine. Yet something about today felt different. A single random comment from someone unexpectedly unsettled her. Sujeong had always assumed she didn't care about others, isolating herself from the world, never considering who might show interest in her or what kind of person she might be drawn to. That vague, almost understandable remark lingered in her mind, something she couldn't easily make sense of. As she noticed Seogyun standing silently and staring, an unfamiliar, fluttery feeling swept through her like a spring breeze. Unable to stay still, her steps quickened until she found herself running, unknowingly embracing the arrival of a new season. She realized her plan from yesterday to distance herself had already failed. Even if she removed all her excuses, she knew he would create new reasons to stay close. She suspected he may have intentionally left something with her, forcing her to return it. Though she couldn't simply avoid bringing it back, she devised a new plan. She decided she would slip the item onto his desk when he wasn't around and leave before he noticed. As she prepared to execute her plan, Sujeong collided with another boy. Pyo-gyun, nearby, commented on how painful it looked and asked if her nose was okay as she tried to leave quickly without looking back. She assured herself she was fine, but questioned why his reaction felt unusual. They had no reason to act as if there was anything between them, especially since he was always teasing her. But as she reflected, she began to suspect that his teasing might have been his way of showing interest. This thought shifted everything. For the first time, Sujeong began to understand why he acted the way he did. It wasn't to mock her. All her doubts turned to certainty as she realized that the personal motive he had hinted at was about her. Though she had doubted it, she now accepted it. Overwhelmed, her mind felt like it crashed. She tried to ground herself, remembering she was only dealing with the AirPods she had absent-mindedly set down while lost in thought. She admitted she didn't dislike the connection forming between them, laughing nervously as she allowed him to take her hand again. Even though she now understood the reason behind Seogyun's actions, she still felt uncertain, everything feeling new to her. Suddenly, a thought filled her mind. People often write better romance when they experience it themselves. A spark of curiosity pushed her forward. Sujeong finally allowed herself to let him hold her hand, quietly accepting the unfamiliar feelings that had begun to grow. A girl approached Seogyun, calling out as she found him and questioning who stood beside him. Seogyun introduced Seogyun as just a friend. Hearing this, Seogyun silently processed the words. Questioning her place, while Seogyun smirked at her, casually remarking that it was what she said. He asked if that was right before introducing the two girls to one another. The girl introduced herself as Jo-hyun, and both Jo-hyun and Seogyun exchanged greetings. Jo-hyun invited Sujeong to stop by their club booth, explaining that they had worked hard to prepare for the promotional event. She noted that she and Seogyun had been meeting every Tuesday evening to plan, emphasizing their efforts. Seogyun added that Jo-hyun had done more of the hard work than he had. Jo-hyun encouraged Sujeong to check out the booth before leaving. Sujeong, drained, mentioned that she only came by to return Seogyun's AirPods. Ju-hyun, surprised, quietly wondered if the two had been meeting privately. Smiling knowingly, she still led Sujeong toward the booth. Seogyun reflected on his behavior, questioning whether he had been too over the top lately. Even he felt Jo-hyun's tone and manner had been a bit much recently. Yet he admitted Sujeong's reactions were so entertaining that he couldn't help but continue. Jo-hyun began explaining the club's activities to Sujeong, inviting her to play their minigame, offering a prize for winning. Sujeong wondered if watching others struggle was meant to be fun. Seogyun could see she wanted to leave, but she held back, not wanting to appear as someone with no social skills. Nothing had really changed just because they had held hands earlier, but Sujeong still tried to remain composed. Jo-hyun called for her focus, stating that the condition for playing was to join the club. Sujeong refused and prepared to leave, but Jo-hyun offered a compromise, saying she would allow Sujeong to skip joining if she wrote a good review instead. She introduced the game, explaining it was an odds and even challenge where players guessed if the opponent held an odd or even number of marbles, ending the game when someone guessed correct. She noted that while the prize was a secret, last year it had been AirPods. Sujeong agreed to play. Jo-hyun told her to choose an opponent from the club members. Sujeong hesitated, wondering why she needed to choose someone from the group. Jo-hyun urged her to play before leaving, so as not to disrupt the flow of people. She explained that the other members had to recruit new participants. It ended with Sujeong facing Seogyun. He claimed she had been staring at him, assuming she wanted to face him. He teased that it was a good thing, remarking that he was the only person there she already knew, making him the easiest to read. Sujeong disagreed, stating he was the hardest to figure out, which was why she chose him. The game began, with Seogyun inviting her to guess first. She responded seriously, while he asked if he should go easy on her. He revealed his answer as evens, teasing her as he toyed with her. Annoyed, she decided to do the same, aiming to fluster him and find an opening. She called his name and guessed odds, asking if he would reveal the result. He replied that it was evens, maintaining his calm demeanor. She asked again for confirmation, and he confirmed once more. The answer turned out to be odds, leaving him to comment on their apparent trust issues. Sujeong questioned what trust had to do with the game as he prepared for his turn. He suddenly asked how she had felt when holding his hand earlier, clearly knowing how to fluster his opponent. Sujeong realized he could predict exactly what to say to unsettle her. Determined, she activated her competitive spirit, deciding she could do the same. She admitted feeling nervous, noting it was her first time trying such tactics in a real situation. Sujeong found her honesty amusing, remarking on how she could say such things so openly. His clear eyes scanned over her slowly, with the same curiosity as always. She realized that all along he had been enjoying watching her reactions, his gaze holding her as though she were in the palm of his hand. He acted as if he already knew every reaction she would have, and the thought frustrated her. She hated being the only one feeling this way. She wondered if he disliked seeing her nervous, prompting him to respond. His reaction diverged from what she had predicted as he admitted that he too felt something. He confessed that his heart had fluttered. It was only then that Sujeong could truly sense it. Something had begun between them. A connection made their exchanges feel natural. As the game continued, he asked if the marbles in her hand were evens, questioning how she could say such things and remain composed. She noted that their connection had indeed begun. He assumed her reaction meant the answer was odds and told her to open her hand. She realized he didn't fully trust her words either. He He teased her about her small hands, warning that she couldn't escape. Seunghyun felt her nerves spike as his casual manner continued. She asked why it made her nervous, eventually agreeing to move her hand. The moment grew awkward. Seunghyun congratulated her on winning the prize, suggesting she pick for him. He left the decision entirely to her, prompting her to question if he needed her to be direct. He reminded her of what she had said before, telling her to go home and think about what he meant by it, leaving her annoyed. Later, Hyeri spoke with Sujeong, interpreting his words to mean he wanted to spend more time together. She teased Sujeong, asking if she was finally graduating from her emotionless state. Hyeri noted that Sujeong must have understood what he meant all along, even if she had chosen not to respond because of his confident attitude. She encouraged Sujeong to give in, reminding her that she had admitted to being curious. Hyeri observed that Sujeong had already crossed the line, holding hands with him, and suggested that everything started casually. If it didn't work out, she could stop later. She insisted that what they had was something, questioning what else it could be. Nearby, others gossiped about Seunghyun. They noted the girl who had come with him earlier, questioning if he was truly dating despite saying he wasn't in a place to do so. Some muttered that people wouldn't leave him alone, calling him the one who stole Changgyun's girlfriend. They expressed surprise, remarking that he had such a good image, but rumors persisted. They reasoned that where there was smoke, there was fire, noting how many girls flocked to him. Amid the growing thoughts and whispers, Sujeong sent a message, agreeing to go on the date. Sujeong found herself reflecting on her situation as she spoke with the AI assistant she used for advice. She explained that a man she was in a vague, undefined relationship with had asked her to visit an amusement park with him. The assistant interpreted this as a date, noting how much progress she had already made. She admitted he had been so smooth that things progressed naturally, almost without her. Unsure of what to do, she wondered if it was better to accept or decline. The assistant presented both sides. It first listed reasons to go. Spending time together in a new and unfamiliar environment could help her and Seunghyun grow closer. As obvious as it sounded, it held truth. Another reason came from her profession. As a romance novelist, an outing like this could provide excellent inspiration and serve as valuable reference material for her stories. The thought struck her. She wondered when she would ever get another chance like this, and grew excited at the idea of turning the experience into something profitable. Yet, the assistant also pointed out the risks. A smooth person could naturally steer a relationship wherever they wanted, especially in a romantic environment like an amusement park. There was a chance the relationship could progress faster than she expected. She needed to act cautiously, determine his true intentions, and decide if he genuinely cared or was only having fun. Sujeong knew Seunghyun was difficult to read, but she couldn't ignore the potential for good material. The assistant reminded her to treat people as ends rather than means, but also admitted that going might genuinely be fun. It told her how to spot warning signs. Someone who is only there for fun might keep boundaries in place, or repeatedly push and pull, and they might avoid serious conversations about commitment by changing the subject or backing away. It told her to trust her instincts, as a bad feeling could be a sign she couldn't ignore. She groaned at how difficult this undenied something phase was. The assistant reminded her that real experiences often improved her writing, suggesting she try living through it. Sujeong admitted she was curious, and decided she would allow herself to be fooled by Cha Seunghyun just this once, even if it felt more unexpected than she had thought. When the day of the date arrived, Sujeong silently prayed for a seat, exhausted before the day even began. Spotting an empty seat, she moved quickly, only to notice someone familiar nearby. The sight startled her, though she couldn't recall where she had seen him before. Over announcements and crowds, she heard the directions to exit for Canal World. She let Seunghyun know she had just arrived and was heading to the entrance. He replied that he was behind her, not in front, revealing himself with his usual teasing tone. She felt that same surprising presence again, sensing the confidence behind his every move, as if he knew his methods would work. She wondered if other girls fell for his charms so easily and decided to keep her guard up. The weather was hot and she decided she did not want to hold hands. He responded with mild disappointment, remarking that it was a shame, and joked that they should have chosen a colder day to come. Determined not to get swayed, she resolved to focus on what she wanted to do. She pointed to another activity nearby, asking if they could try it. He agreed, admitting he had never done it either, surprising her. She found it odd but took it as a small victory. Sujeong mentally created a list for future writing reference. She wanted to experience 3 things on this outing: a school uniform date, visiting a haunted house together, and watching water fireworks. She promised herself that if she experienced all 3, she would eventually use them in her writing. Since it had been so long since she had gone out, she wanted to make the most of it. What she had not accounted for was Seunghyun's overly particular sense of aesthetics, even in choosing clothes. While trying on outfits, he commented that one she had had worn before fit better. Another voice urged him to decide quickly, as they had already spent an hour. To Sujeong, all the clothes looked the same, but Seunghyun insisted on trying another pair of pants with a slightly wider leg. She quietly thought of him as impossible to deal with, while he continued to comment that all the clothes were attractive, but one was slightly better. As they browsed, he brought up a nearby couple, mentioning they had met in a hobby club. He noted how people often claimed to be there for hobbies, yet their true motives were clear. He pointed out how one person had no interest in clothes, while another kept steering the conversation towards specific topics, laughing about how obvious it was. He compared it to the group date they had attended before, noting how Sujeong herself had been more blatant, assuming she must have found it amusing from her perspective as well. The mention of the date made her flinch. He remarked on how much she seemed to enjoy observing people. She asked if there was anything wrong with that. He replied that she, too, observed people, calling it an occupational hazard. She agreed, though silently acknowledged that for her, it might also be a way to mask her lack of social skills, a habit that formed from imitating the behaviors of others. She realized she had been doing it that day as well, judging and analyzing those around her, just as she often did. She remembered noticing how a man had desperately wanted to start a rowdy drinking game, and how another had been trying too hard to be charming. No matter how natural someone acted, she could see through it, because she observed and judged as much as Seunghyun did. Unlike her, however, he seemed to genuinely enjoy it. As they continued, he asked if she was done changing. She hadn't realized he was watching closely. He teased her for stepping back, asking how he was supposed to see if she kept retreating. He commented on the waist of her skirt, suggesting it might be too loose. When she mentioned a side adjuster, he told her it could be tightened further and moved in to help. She was startled when he pulled the zipper, adjusting it himself. The sudden closeness left her uncomfortable and tense. She accused him of knowing exactly what he was doing, insisting she wasn't going to give him the reaction he wanted. She told him not to figure her out, as she didn't want to be understood so easily. He admitted he wanted to, but whether it was fear, shame, or nervousness, she could not identify the feelings stirring within her as her sleeve snagged on the buckle.